Dr. Umashankar. Due to lack of time, we will quickly start with your presentation and start moving.
Certainly, Raj. I would like to start with the pinch of the salt. This is from the madam. Pinch of the salt trying to get into the depth of the ocean. So that is where you start your quality journey. So I represent Rama Memorial Hospital. It is a tertiary care super specialty hospital with state-of-art technology, with clinical expertise located at the heart of the garden city of Bangalore. It has many recognition to its excellence. So we are one of the earliest organizations to have NABH accreditation, NABL. We have got many awards like HPI, KAHO awards. Then we also got CI Excellence Award for Emerging Leader in Healthcare as well. Raj, next slide, Raj. Okay. Most of the time we see there are a lot of angry patients, angry management. They say you have Raj, next. Okay, most of the time we see hospitals say that your hospital is NABH accredited, your hospital is JC accredited, your hospital has got ISO, your hospital has got NABL, but the service of the patients is very poor. And what should we do? Should we elevate the quality of bar either by aiming at another quality certification or for a higher and highest level of awards? We see angry management and also an angry patient all the time. So what should we do? Next slide. Okay, is it just a certification used for a marketing purpose or to attract clients saying that we have this certification, we have quality standards in place? Next slide. So is there more that we can do? What is that we should do is the need of the hour. See, in this difficult situation, we should do something more than what is required for the community. Next. So you should have short-term and long-term courses. So the short-term course would be elevating the bar of quality of excellence, either by aiming for another certification or benchmarking yourself to the best of the organization. The long-term goal will be of establishing a program that aims for development of an organization, culture of quality and performance excellence. Longer-term course of action like 5S, Lean Six Sigma, or CI Malcolm Baldrige Excellence, or projects like Cost of Poor Quality would give you a steadfast results in ensuring quality and beyond accreditation. Next, Raj. So the history of cost of poor quality came from again from the industries. So it was popularized by IBM quality expert James Harrison in his book in 1987, Quality Cost. So the cost of poor quality is refinement of the concept of quality cost. In the 1960s, IBM undertook an effort to study its own quality cost and tailored the concept of its own use. While Febingham term quality cost, it technically accurate, it's easy for the uninitiated to the name poor quality cost to emphasize the belief that investment in detection and prevention of product failures is more than offset by saving in reductions in product failures. Next slide. We have many data present with us. Currently, we do not have Indian data, but we would definitely get Indian data in a short while. We have data from US which says that cost associated with providing poor quality healthcare in US per year is almost $720 billion. A recent study undertaken through the American Society of Quality showed that for every dollar spent on your quality management system, you could expect to see an additional $6 in revenue and a $16 reduction in cost and a $3 increase in profits. On an average, they saw that quality management reduces cost by 4.8%. So I was talking in my opening note about return on investment. So every organization thinks about return on investment, about your equipment, about your consultant, about the new purchases you look at, but most of them what do not look is about the return on investment on quality. So how often do we budget for these inefficiencies, or if we also budget for inefficiencies, is there an alarm system for this? So we should have one. Next slide. The cost of quality is like a tip of an iceberg. Most of them look at quality as a cost center. So nobody looks at quality as a profit center. They look at as accreditation cost, your laboratory cost, your assessment fees, your travel expenses for the assessors, your inspection cost, repeat testing cost, cost for quality management systems, for your laboratory QA cost, daily QCs, daily QPs. So this is the visible cost which an organization sees, but most of them what they don't see is the invisible cost. So the invisible cost is about your billing errors, your employee turnover rate, expired reagents, excess supplies, shortage of supplies, damaged supplies, internal waits and delays, unplanned equipment downtimes, rush orders for suppliers. So these are most of the invisible costs which nobody is looking at. So should we not look at these costs and quantify the quality of cost? Next, Raj. The quality of cost of quality is divided into two, that is cost of good quality plus cost of poor quality. Most of them only look at the cost of good quality. So today we'll also look at the cost of poor quality as well. The cost of good quality is termed as prevention cost plus appraisal cost, but the cost of poor quality is termed as internal failures cost and external failure cost. Next slide. Okay. What does the numbers really look at? The ratio of individual category cost to total cost varies widely. Many companies exhibit ratios which look like the following. The appraisal cost will go from 10 to 50%. The prevention cost might go from 0.5 to 5%. But if you look at the internal failures and external failures, which nobody accounts for, is almost 25 to 40% in each one of them. So this picture shows a lot of things. Many of the CEOs or the financial heads can look at the cost of poor quality as well. So here are a few examples of cost of poor quality, cost of good quality. These are the prevention costs, quality planning, training and education, process definitions, customer surveys, strategic reviews, departmental manuals, your SOPs, your work desk instructions, your mock drills, committee expenses, your programs run for zero defect programs or any quality initiatives which you take is under the prevention cost. Next, Raj. So your appraisal expenses will incur. So these are examples of appraisal expenses: the process controls, training your QA personnel, quality systems audit, customer surveys, surveys and audits, your vendor evaluation, employee surveys, security checks, safety checks, and your operational and strategic reviews which you do. So this accounts the cost of poor quality are the internal failures and external failures. So the internal failures cost are examples are medication errors, hospital acquired infections, reporting errors, increased allows due to preventable errors, internal errors causing patient harm, your unbilled investigation and procedures, your absenteeism, your equipment downtime. So these are the internal failure costs. Next, Raj. External failure cost: the product recalls, handling complaints, customer service caused by errors, pharmacy returns, evaluation of impressed stocks, late payments and bad debts. So this is the most important thing. We see a lot of insurance people denying the insurance, or there are a lot of bad debts in it, and lawsuits. So majorly lawsuits will incur a lot of expenses for organization which they don't follow. If had they followed the proper quality systems in place, they would have not been in this position facing lawsuits. Reduced footfall because of customer dissatisfaction. How many of you actually count what is your reduced footfalls because of patient dissatisfaction? Most of them don't do. So by doing projects on cost of poor quality, you'll actually be attaining good number of patient satisfaction, and also it gives a good profitable business for you all. Next, Raj. So we did a small study. We did a small study at Ramay Memorial Hospital with the help of BD team. So we did a project on vascular access management. So I'll be taking you through the project. So 90% of the hospital inpatients receive an IV as soon as they get admitted. Up to 50% of these IVs fail. Why? Next, Raj. So there are various reasons for failure of these IVs. So it might be infections, your phlebitis, your occlusions, your dislodgements, or extravasation. These failures are largely due to unnecessary complications. Next, Raj. Complications cause multiple restarts that affects everyone. So it affects your patients. It causes discomfort and pain, delays in therapy, patient confidence. Your nurses or your clinicians are in stress. Their satisfaction levels are down. Your reputation to hospital, it is increased length of stay, and again, all boils down to your patient satisfaction. Next. But what if we reduce this complication? So keeping few goals and objectives of the vascular access management, we thought these three would be the most apt one: clinical and economic outcome, improving the PIV dwelling time and increase the risk and decrease the risk of PIV complications, patient safety and experiences by standardizing the vascular care, clinicians' competency and efficiency by continuously improving in competency of vascular care delivery and achieving cost effectiveness. So how we can achieve this is increasing the practice standards, reducing product and process variations, advances, clinician proficiencies, and compliances. What we see is most of the hospital have many devices which they use. So standardize your device and standardize your care across all the facilities. So this was the scope of assessment. It was in a single hospital in 3 care settings. It was in ICU, emergency, and in wards. So it was done for 8 days. There were 8 clinicians who were interviewed. There were 51 PIV catheter insertions observed, PIV line, 11 PIV live insertions, 288 charts reviews, and 41 medication administration. All these were aligned to the global standards of CDC, INS, and INIC guidelines. Next, Raj. So there were a lot of risk observed in the process. There were PIV insertion risk, administration risk, and maintenance risk. So these are the percentage of risk, what you can see. Next, Raj. So look at the performance assessment. An average dwelling time for a PIV line is almost 96 hours, or unless it is clinically indicated. So the average dwelling time was only 49 hours, which is almost half of what does the guideline say. The average PIV cannulation per patient was 1.51. PIVs removed due to complications were 58%, and the therapy completed with initial IV was 42%. Next, Raj. So we did a study here which shows that on an average per year we are doing 27,840 PIV catheters currently removed because of complications. And we also calculated the cost per PIV insertion, which is around 870 rupees, which includes the cost of the insertion and the clinician's average salary, plus also the cost of the catheters, which would almost accounts to 2.42 crores annually. So should we not look at saving some of them? So next, Raj. So we thought of having an appropriate technology. So Vylon catheters were used, needleless connectors were used, transparent dressings were done, pre-filled flushes were used for flushing after every medication. Next, Raj. An appropriate training was provided to all the staffs, avoiding contamination of insertion, site after site preparation, avoiding insertion of IV cannula over joints, scrubbing the hub process, and needleless connectors before infusion. Next, Raj. So these were the results, what we did, what we got in 2 months only. So we had almost reduced complications from 58% to 24%. Our dwelling time increased from 49 hours to 54 hours. Our reduced number of catheters per patient was 1.51 to 1.21. And our therapy completed with initial IV form was from 42% to 76%. So this was the improvement found in just 2 to 3 months. Next, Raj.
3 more minutes to go.
So if you look at not going for 100% of improvement, if you look at going for 60% of improvements, we could see that 16,704 catheters could actually be reduced. So the cost per 60% of improvement in catheter insertion would account to 1.45 crores. So should we not try doing from 50%, 60%, and then continuously striving to go ahead and looking at 80 to 90% of less complication and more indwelling time? So we could save an 1.445 crores rupees annually. Next, Raj. We also have a quality management system known as Medbase Infini, which we use. So this is a very good dashboard what we use. So you can see cost of poor quality for PIV insertion within 96 hours. So what we do is we key in the data on a monthly basis, and we record. This dashboard goes to the CFOs and CEOs to have a review at what is the cost of poor quality at our organization, which helps in making data-driven decisions as well. Next, Raj. So I'll be talking of few data which is globally seen. So roughly around 1.7 million hospital-acquired infections occur annually in acute care hospitals, which results in tens of thousands of patient deaths and cost billions of dollars to the healthcare system. The direct, indirect, and non-medical social cost of HI are estimated around $96 billion to $147 billion annually, including loss of work, legal costs, and other patient factors. The cost of HIs include catheter-associated infections, COTI, SSI, VAP, and many other. Next, Raj. So the direct medical cost is, these are the figures. You can see COTI around $1,000, CDI around $11,000, SSI around $20,800, VAP around $40,000, CLABSI around $45,800. If you were to take all of these costs and average them across the hospital and across every patient with or without an HI, it would amount to a surcharge of $1,100 per patient admitted to a hospital. Next, Raj. More than infection, it is the extended stay. So the HIs are typically leading to longer length of stay for patients, which is another factor that drives up cost. The average length of stay for a patient without an HI is roughly 5 days, and highlighted below is the number of extra days for HIs are typically hospitalized. COTI 3.3 extra days, CLABSI around 10.4 extra days, SSI 11.2 extra days, and VAP around 13.1 extra days. Next, Raj. At any given time, the prevalence of healthcare-associated infections in developed countries varies from 3.5 to 12%. The European Center for Disease Prevention and Control reports an average prevalence of 7.1% in European countries. The estimated incidence rate in US is 4.5% in correspondence to 9.3 infections per 1,000 patient days and 1.7 million affected patients. Next, Raj. At any given time, the prevalence of healthcare-associated infections varies between 5.1 to 19.1 in low and middle-income countries. The proportion of patients with acquired infections range from 4.4 to 88.9, with a frequency of overall infection as high as 42.7% infections per 1,000 patient days. Next, Raj. So this is the impact of poor quality. As in case of many other patient safety issues, healthcare-associated infections additionally suffering and come at a high cost of patients and their families. Such infections annually cost around 37,000 attributable deaths in Europe, and potentially many more that could be related, and they account to 99,000 deaths in US. Next, Raj. Next, Raj. Next. You can skip this. Yeah. The focus of the projects of one slide before. The focus on cost of poor quality efforts is identifying the quality, quantify quality cost, expose the hidden factory, ongoing measurement system, and the big breakthrough improvement, which is very much necessary. Next, Raj. And the advantages of doing this is reducing the cost of poor quality is one of the best way to increase a company's profit, provides manageable entity and a single overview of quality, aligns quality and goals, prioritize problems and provides a means to measure change and improvement, promotes effective use of resources. Next, Raj. What I have shown is most of them are US data or European data. A humble submission to all the participants here that we should create a lot of data bank for ourselves in India. So I would request everybody to submit papers, publish papers, so which will increase the Indian data for us. So we are publishing this WAM project, and this would be adding to the Indian data so that anybody who wants Indian data can be seen here. So if you think that quality is expensive, try poor quality ones. So thank you and happy learning to all.
Thanks, Dr. Umashankar. Very, very deep insights on poor quality and the costs associated with it. We're really happy that you gave this presentation today to our participants. I'm sure the panelists would also appreciate it. Next up,